Welcome back to War Thunder Weekly News. Hit the subscribe button to stay informed. First off, we have a dev blog for the M1 Abrams. There's something rather surreal for such a modern tank to be added to what is mostly advertised as a Second World War vehicle game. The Abrams is what birthed out of the US half of the MBT-70 project. After it was a failure, the US took what they learned and their own new tank, the XM1. Throughout the years, it eventually became the tank we know today, the M1 Abrams, leaving the factory floor in 1980. This tank saw a great deal of minor and major improvements. What is a very interesting and important note left on this dev blog is that they state exactly that the later production of the M1 Abrams, armed with the Leopard 2's 120mm cannon, the M1A1 Abrams, is apparently a story for another dev blog in the future, which is essentially they have already confirmed the M1A1 for a future update, which is rather crazy, but more on that later. More details about the M1. This thing could go 40 kilometers an hour in reverse, 70 forward. The standard M1 is armed with a 105mm M68A1 cannon, not as fancy as the Leopard 2's 120, but still something to be reckoned with that modern ammunition. The dev blog unfortunately does not speak of any potential penetration rates, but I can tell you that it's going to be rather intense. One thing I am very much looking forward to is the blowout panels on the M1 Abrams. Essentially, what could happen is if your ammunition was struck and caught fire, there were these special panels that would close off the ammunition storage and allow it to functionally burn off, saving the tank and the crew. Later in the dev blog, they state that if heat or HESH ammo is to be affected, it will act like a regular ammo rack. But this raises the question, if you only take AP ammunition in the M1 Abrams, are you immune to ammo racks? I could make a whole video on the Abrams, but it can't be this one. The other vehicle for the Russians that got announced was the T-64B. As cool as it sounds, unfortunately it's not so much different than the T-64A. It now has the ability to shoot ATGMs out of its main cannon and has better armor around, but that's about all the differences. Although one thing that this dev blog does prove is the T-64BV is official. That image that was shared around that Gaijin claimed was fake, and I laugh. Well, if you look at some of the screenshots of the T-64B, you'll notice that certain features of it match up with that supposed fake T-64VB. A most notable one is the dents on the track guards are the same for the T-64B and the supposed fake T-64VB. Unless the two modelers of these tanks had a mind meld and created the same tank with minor alterations, these are the same tanks. Though it should be noted that the T-64VB does have slightly different armor than the T-64B. So the addition of explosive reactive armor will most likely not be a modular upgrade, and it will be its own vehicle entirely. The final rank 6 tank to be announced this week was the AMX-30B2. As exciting and cool as this AMX covered in explosive reactive armor is, the thing still doesn't have properly modeled stabilizer, and I assume its weird French heat shells are still improperly modeled weird French heat shells. Other developments unrelated to vehicles were for the new Dagor engine. There are now weather effects. Rain, fog, and haze are going to be very popular in the next update, which is very nice. I think everyone is tired of mid-summer days with no clouds in the sky. Gaijin also showed a video showing off their effects of how clouds and the sun now move over time. The video was 30 seconds long, sped up, and for a good while I didn't notice anything was happening. I think this feature will only be really noticed in enduring confrontation. Most tank games don't last long enough. Even the long, drawn-out Air RB games don't last long enough for it to really take effect. The shadows and effects are being improved in the next patch, in this engine update. It's hard to explain in words exactly what Gaijin is doing. I can show you some photos, but essentially things look nicer, more realistic, and overall the game will be lighter so you can see more detail on buildings. The ground texture is being updated to something that looks a whole lot better. I think it's most notable in the cobblestone roads. For ultra low quality, it makes quite a difference, going from PS1 graphics to PS2 graphics. The final improvement announced this week for the engine was a large improvement to how sound works and the sounds themselves of the tanks. It now functions in layers. I think trying to explain with this in words is pointless. I can show you some clips from the videos they showed. The one thing I would most point out though is that there was a moment where the row fired an AT shell about 200 meters away, and when that AT shell exploded, you did not instantly hear the explosion sound. It took a bit of time to come back to you. Apparently this feature has been in War Thunder, but the guys have been too lazy to actually put it into action. But this overall is going to make the battlefield a whole lot more exciting. At the end of the week, there was a 1.77 Advancing Storm highlights that showed off all the things I just talked about. The one interesting thing that everyone noticed was they said about 20 new vehicles. We've only seen maybe 9 new vehicles, so we still have quite a few to go. And I don't think there's even a single low tier vehicle showing off. I'm really hoping tomorrow that we get to see the HE-177. Now, if you're a fan of Japan, you might be feeling left out, because you are being left out. In the comment section of the Abrams M1, there was people complaining, where is my Type 90? Japan has hardly any tanks at high tier. And despite this, Gaijin has yet to implement really anything for them. At least you're not Italy. A representative replied to someone's complaint, stating, nobody said anywhere that the Type 74 is going to face the M1. Let's wait until at least Dev we jump to conclusions, please. Japan has not been forgotten. It is simply not as easy to get source material on. Now this could mean two things. Either they do have something cooked up that they're going to release for Japan, maybe a Type 90, maybe another Type 74. I think that's unlikely. The second possibility is that this is only being said in attempts to calm people down. But I think the other important factor to take from this is where he says that the Type 74 was not going to face the M1. This could either mean that the BRs are going to be expanded to the point where the Type 74 at 8.7 won't meet the M1, or the Type 74 is having its battle rating reduced. Now here's an interesting theory that I've been thinking of. This patch is mainly about improving the engine and tacking on a few high tier vehicles to get people excited. But from what we can tell is that in a future update, the M1A1 is coming. Germany's new top tier vehicle is only a prototype of what top tier vehicle people really want, the Leopard 2. And the T64B is only a minor improvement to the T64A. What I'm theorizing is that next patch we're gonna get our Japanese tanks, our M1A1, our Leopard 2, maybe even an improvement to the Challenger. I haven't read too much into this tank, so I don't know if there's minor upgrades. Maybe we're gonna go straight to the Challenger too. But that's just my theory, that the next patch is gonna be even more insane levels of hype. There was an odd comment made by an administrator that apparently on the Israeli M48 that there were smoke grenades on it, and it's apparently not supposed to have smoke grenades. So they've re-uploaded the photos with it without smoke grenades. Personally, I thought it looked cooler with the smoke grenades. Whatever, this is apparently a historical change. I hope no one bought it on the fact that it had smoke grenades. Kind of a weird thing to buy a tank on. As a final bit of news, it's been confirmed that there will be no Rank 5 British Premium. I'm not sure where the idea that a Rank 5 British Premium was coming, but it's confirmed that there won't be one. Now, the store dude in this comment does note they are working on one, and hopefully it'll be in 1.79, which feeds further into my theory that 1.79 is the real hype patch, and this is just a prelude. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you did not like the video, hit the dislike button. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button. I make these videos every weekend. I make random videos throughout the week. If you want to be notified when those come up, hit that bell icon. You should get a notification whenever I upload any random video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.